Greetings, sentient beings. This broadcast is not intended for children. There will be strong language and adult themes, especially if it gets back into politics.
And nothing you hear out of any of our mouths is true.
Nothing on this channel should ever be taken as political, mental, emotional, or any other type of advice.
Today, folks, we are positioned back at the Houston Nature Center. As you can see, the trees are turning color. Unfortunately, most of the trees in this area go yellow. The bright one you have here is a custom planting of a sugar maple. But nonetheless, the yellow is pretty too. And I figure about another week and most of these leaves are going to be gone.
It dropped to over 20 degrees here last night, so it's cold now.
Yeah, it's about 45, 50 maybe tops.
And it's been wet here too.
But it's going to be 70 and by the weekend.
Yeah, and yesterday we just barely made it above the freezing.
That's tasty.
Play those ragtime blues.
This is why they invent the mute buttons,
Sorry, I thought I'd hit the mute button.
Yeah, I had to do a couple of things this morning, and that means I had to go outside, and it was peopling outside, so that was fun.
Peopling is never fun.
People be people and people suck. So
I want to say I knew it was inevitable I was going to do that without the mute button sooner or later. I'm surprised I was able to go this long without it.
Yeah, I'm waiting to screw that up too.
Well, again, Mage, it's what we talked about on these headphones, that the mute button is that small side slide.
Yeah.
So it looks like I had just slid it like halfway instead of the full way down. It couldn't be just a simple press in button like the big one on the front for the flashing lights.
Yeah, that's so useful, having a big button to have lights that glow.
Oh, so I'm not feeling great. I'm sure a lot of it's anxiety for me for the weekend coming up here. I will not be doing a stream tomorrow night because by the time for the stream tomorrow night, I will be driving through Wisconsin. This is the big brothers weekend thing that my eldest brother likes to organize every year.
Well,
and this one's going to be particularly contentious because he has made it very clear that he is not accepting my transition at all. No surprise there. I had changed my last name like 1997, and it was only about 4 years ago that he finally put the correct name on an envelope because the post office had started sending them back.
Well, we got an update on Diana here, it seems. Greg managed to get through to her.
Oh, good. Did somebody talk to her?
Yeah, Greg got through to him. She's been trying to make an internet connection with her laptop and having trouble. She doesn't remember how she got in the hospital or where her keys are again.
Oh, dear.
She's worried about Sylvia.
Yep.
And she doesn't know how long she's going to be in there.
Oh, she's in the hospital now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, at least we've heard from her. That's something.
And she's got a laptop, so at least it's even if.
Okay, well, she hasn't been responding to anything though.
Yeah, I'm guessing she's been out of it by the sound of it.
Mm. Yep.
Oh, that really sucks.
Yeah.
What is going to become of her?
Yeah, like I said, I've already taking a trip starting tomorrow night, so I can't do anything from here. I know Bub really couldn't afford to take the day off of work that he had to last time. So,
Maybe Savage Minnow.
yeah, hopefully. I don't know. I haven't seen anything from Minnow really in the last week, so.
Hmm.
They posted something in one of the Twitter groups. I was in, but I didn't. That's the last I heard out of Minnow.
My car is not reliable enough. I can't risk it.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said, I would go, but I can't this week. Because actually I would blow off the Brothers Weekend thing, but Donna is going to take the van while I'm there. Basically, she's going to drop me off and take the van to go visit her family. And she's concerned that this might be her last opportunity to see them.
Mm.
I don't think she's going to be declining that fast. Actually got some good news. The scan she had done last week showed the tumors to be slightly smaller than they had been.
That's good.
So the chemo is having a positive effect.
That's encouraging.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good start. We'll have to see what happens again after
She's
a
tough.
couple more chemos and they follow up in December.
Any step in that direction is good. So.
Yep. On the other positive news, the It's Alive thing that I titled this for was I finally have my new computer system up and running, thanks to Dick Dawson, who also provided me with an activation key for Windows 10.
Really good of him.
So, a number of people in the community donated to help me buy all the components and donated a couple of components. So, appreciate the help of everyone involved. GeoSam bought the case. Junk Shop and Julie sent me a power supply. Yeah, it's been a while since I collected the components, so I've kind of forgotten everyone who donated. I'm sorry.
I want to say thank you again for the book. And I don't see Skid Scratcher in the chat, but I already got a chance to say thank you to him last night for the garden tool he sent me.
Yeah, I was actually saying I wish that we actually lived closer to Minneapolis, because I saw that Time Life book series you had on there, and around the Minneapolis main campus, or the U of M main campus in Minneapolis, the neighborhood's just littered with used bookstores. It's always been a great place to find a lot of out-of-print books. But too much of a drive from here now.
Yeah.
I tried looking on eBay, but I was not finding the particular volumes you were looking for, even though I found a lot from that series.
Yeah, I have
Dinkyville.
I have some of that series from my dad, and some of the ones that my dad had got destroyed in a flood. And some of the ones on the list are some of the ones that got destroyed, and some of the ones he never had.
You were saying something, Jenny?
Just Dinkyville, Dinkytown.
Yep, Dinkytown. It also seems that there is law in Minnesota that if you have a used bookstore, there must be a resident cat.
That's a good law.
Actually, it makes sense. Library kitties have been a tradition for as long as humans have had libraries.
I didn't know
When
that.
you've got huge stacks of paper or parchment laying about, that's excellent nesting material for rodents. So the cats were probably hanging around there even before they were properly domesticated.
There we go. Then I reckon it was a cat that burned down the Great Library of Alexandria.
Yeah, so it explains everything.
Yeah.
That's a very plausible theory, actually. If somebody had left the room with a candlestick burning and a cat knocked it over.
Mm.
Let's see, in the side chat, we've got Stephanie, Doc Fearsome, Carol, and Angie. So, hey all, how are y'all doing today?
Thank you, Angie. This is just a block or so away from my house.
I'm not going to be able to run long today because also it's a busy day for me. So I'm going to have to cut this off at 2 o'clock because I've got to be to the clinic by 3 to get my monkeypox vaccine. And then at 4, I've got my therapy. So a lot going on for me today. And then after that, of course, I've got to finish packing for the weekend. The one nice thing about it is that, with the 4 of us, it's kind of a mini gaming convention that we will spend the whole weekend just sitting around playing games. And since I have not been able to do a gaming convention since the whole COVID mess started, it'll be kind of nice to be able to sit with live players. One game we're not going to get to play, but a horrible irony is right after we moved, one of the first things I got, just as a kind of housewarming thing, was a copy of the board game Pandemic, which, due to their actual being a pandemic, I've never been able to get enough people to sit down in a room together to play. It's still in the shrink wrap.
Mm.
You need 4 to 6 people to actually play a decent game of that.
What game is that?
The game is called Pandemic. It's a cooperative board game that you're not really against the other players, but it's like all the players playing jointly against the deck of cards. That basically every time a hotspot pops up, you've got to run over there with the right equipment to knock it down before it spreads too far.
Sounds like politics.
There are a lot of different versions of it. Yeah.
Well, I came across some officially good news.
Okay, what you got?
For those of you who are fans, and not many people will admit they are, Necco wafers are back on the shelf.
Well, don't they usually pop up just before Halloween?
No, they're year-round.
I was just watching a thing on the History Guy about controversial candies.
Was that AIDS in there?
What?
The candy called AIDS.
No, I never heard of that one. Maybe it's
Oh,
not a thing in the US.
I thought it was a US thing, but to be fair to it, that candy got its name before the AIDS virus became a thing, but just didn't really, didn't help its marketability when AIDS became a thing.
Angie, it's Necco wafers, Necco. They're made by the Spangler Candy Company. Used to be made by the Necco Candy Company that has been around since 1847, making Necco wafers. Unfortunately, they also moved production. Necco shut down, and nobody knows why. Nobody heard that their sales were bad or anything. They just shut down. And there was such an outcry from its fans. Some of us have had them since we were little itty bitty kids. The people who bought the company said, well, okay, then we'll bring them back. But to do that, they switched all the production down to Mexico.
Well, in the history guy thing, one of the interesting tidbits is he mentioned that the idea for Lucky Charms about the cereal with all the little marshmallow bits started with somebody chopping up circus peanuts and putting them in Cheerios.
Ugh.
Yeah, that sounds pretty disgusting.
I saw a thing on the overnight news on ABC last night. They listed the 10 worst Halloween candies, and the worst of all the worst Halloween candies is circus peanuts.
Yeah, Angie, as far as the Necco wafers, if you take colorful sidewalk chalk and cut it into little discs, it's about the same thing.
They're very, very sweet.
About the same.
They're a thin wafer, maybe an eighth of an inch. They snap real cleanly. They got a lot of serious crunch, and they're just sweet as fuck. And like they actually have different flavors in them.
Yeah, they sound like Tums.
Definitely the same consistency, same texture as Tums.
Oh no, not at all.
No, I think they're just Tums with more sugar. I don't know. I will grant that I have not had Necco wafers in at least 30 years at this point, so maybe I'm not remembering them as accurately.
Well, grab a tube next time you see them.
No, I think I can go another 30 years without.
What day is Halloween on this year? I mean, I know the date, but I'm trying to think what day of the week it falls on.
I think it's a Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that student Dr. Ben was already planning for doing a Halloween thing and asking who was going to be on the panel. It's another thing I miss that, I hardly ever go to bars, but going for Halloween costume parties was fun. While we lived in Michigan one year, Sloth Girl braided my hair, and I made a cardboard guitar and went as Willie Nelson. And I was definitely the popular favorite, but, being a small town community, the prize was given to the judge's cousin.
I actually went to a costume party as Ozzy Osbourne one year.
I could see that.
That's when that reality show was like the biggest thing on TV at the time as well, the Osbournes.
Yep.
I heard they're moving back to England.
Might very well be.
Sharon was talking about kind of fatalistically, but realistically also that, well, we want to die and at home. Well, that makes sense,
Well, yeah. If there's a place that you've always felt was home that you're attached to, I can get that.
See, I've always been amazed that he's still alive, actually. But
I think he is too.
yeah, mind you, I don't. Reading what's the name of the guy, Tony Iommi's book, who was the guitarist out of Black Sabbath. It kind of often strikes me that Bill Ward, though, a lot of the time was even more off the ropes than Ozzy. But I mean, I think he died a couple of years ago. But who was the drummer? But I would never have had money on Ronnie James Dio being the first member of Black Sabbath to die.
Yeah, it really is surprising, living that lifestyle that Ozzy has managed so long.
Yeah.
Just shows how much there is that we don't understand, that there are contributing factors to things, but they don't always add up the way you expect them to.
Indeed.
Smarties, yeah, I've had Smarties, Carol. They're nice. I like them too.
Oh yeah, that's the old British favourite, the Smarties.
I think Smarties in Britain and Smarties in the US are different things.
They might be, yeah. British Smarties are a bit similar to chocolate M&Ms.
Yeah.
So they might be different things. There might be a different thing in it.
Yeah, Smarties in the US are another, similar to how we were describing the Necco wafers. They don't have any chocolate. They're more a hard, chalky, sweet candy.
Well, since I got my bananas ripening up, I looked around and I have just enough stuff to make banana bread.
So
I always thought it's
banana plant
fascinating.
managed to weather the storm okay?
Oh, the banana plant itself was leveled, but I managed to find that the bananas that were growing on it were still good. I cut the thing off and stored it away in my shed, waiting for them to ripen. And they finally started ripening yesterday.
Oh, okay. I didn't know you could do that after the plant had been knocked down like that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you do know the banana is the atheist's worst nightmare. You do know this.
Yeah. In fact, it's actually a good way of ripening them because it's a way of protecting them from pests.
Mm.
You just cut them off about halfway down, and you can store them up, hang them up on a rack or something. They'll ripen like that.
Yeah, that's pretty much only the flying things that can get at them.
No, you put them. You can put them inside.
Yeah, I meant even as far as insects, that it would only be the flying insects and not just the crawling ones.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe freezing some of them after I make this bread.
Freezing what? Insects?
The bananas.
Oh.
When I was a teenager, I built my own dehydrator, and I made dehydrated banana chips, among other things.
I might do that too, because I have an air dryer I haven't used yet, and banana chips would be pretty good.
Banana chips are great. I love them.
Yep.
Stephanie, that's a great piece of trivia about the Neckos.
Oh, I missed that one.
I didn't go in, but I've been to the Necco wafers factory in Boston.
Somehow, despite the cold temperatures, I've got a fly in here.
He's trying to keep
It's
warm.
because of the cold temperatures. They're all looking for places to stay warm.
Yeah, somehow he found a little gap around the windowsill or something.
Fortunately, they only last a few days.
Yeah, with the sudden drop of temperature, I'm probably going to expect roaches to start showing up.
I had another surprise about the natural world. Squirrels, basic tree squirrels. Our gray squirrels that we see everywhere. They will generally live 3 to 5 years out in the wild, but if you bring them in, and keep them inside, tame, they will go 15 to 20 years.
There's quite a few animals like that their natural lifespan can be extended to 4 or 5 times its normal.
They did this. It was on Nova, on Nature, one of the two. A whole program about squirrels. They are really an impressive creature.
Okay, what does
Here,
NECO stand for?
New England Candy Company, something.
Do you think that do they market them as Necro around Halloween?
I was just thinking of that.
And color them all blood.
Yeah, actually, my
absolutely.
kitty did get one fly last week. Actually, it may even be the same one because he didn't kill it. He knocked it down and he poked at it about 3-4 times while it was crawling on the chair, and then it flew away again. He is definitely interested in this one.
So, Stephanie, did I get the points for being correct?
Yep, Stephanie, how close were we to the correct answer there?
All right, that's the correct answer.
Confectionery company, not candy company.
Okay.
So,
Close enough.
You were very close.
I think that's at least half a point. You give Jenny at least half a point for that.
Yeah, give it.
Okay, Doc says it's no erection callus community ordinance.
Well, then just don't beat off as much. Let it tenderize, or use better lotion.
Okay. So Stephanie awarded you 9 out of 10 points for your answer, Jenny.
Okay, we got Savage Meadow.
Yep.
We're in Lavender's DM group. She's saying she can get a hotel set up and get up there.
I always welcome trivia. Yeah, well, now that we heard something from her, because, I mean, we couldn't really even have somebody go out there if we didn't contact her and, somebody able to get into her apartment.
Well, this is good news, at least.
Yep.
It sounds like she's still very out of it.
Well, we have enough people in the chat that I want to say my piece here. I would like to thank whoever anonymously picked off my wish list an item and had it sent to me. It's a folio cover for my iPad, so I now have a keyboard and a cover on the darn thing, and it's much easier to transport, much easier to use because it's got an actual keyboard, and it's pretty pink. And it's backlighting of the keys changes colors, and it's real nice, and I appreciate that very much. But it was anonymous, so I have no clue who did it.
I saw the pictures you put on Twitter of it. I didn't know it was anonymous.
Yeah, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and I've said that before, that we have some very generous people in our community who just seem to just like remaining anonymous, that they give frequently, but they never let anyone know who they are.
Oh, well, it's time to talk about sex.
Woohoo!
Idaho is now on my official shit list. They've been trying to pass and have succeeded in passing some anti-trans laws, mostly children oriented. But apparently the news came out yesterday that they have proposed a law that will ban all drag shows everywhere.
Fuck's sake.
Can you believe that?
Yes, I can
And
believe it.
damn well a law like that is going to be able to be used against trans people, and they're going to eliminate us from society.
Yeah.
So fuck you, Idaho.
Well, I'm pretty disgusted with the Green Party in the UK. Actually, it was supposed to be supposedly a left-leaning party. Yet they've decided to put up a TERF as a candidate in a by-election against a trans woman who's standing. Because Eddie Izzard's standing for Parliament. Last year she came out as trans. She's standing for the Labour Party for Parliament. Now, I'd expect someone like the Conservatives or someone like that to put up a blooming transphobic piece of shit. I would, but the Green Party that was disgusting. They put someone who's an open turf up against Eddie Izzard as a candidate. I think that's despicable. Shame on them.
We have a trans person running for state senate in Wisconsin here. I haven't heard the official numbers myself, but somebody I was talking to online said that she's doing fairly well in the polls. And they think that there's a chance that she's going to win.
Yeah. Well, I've got to say, it must be nicer, America, for a change, to be able to look down at British politics and go, what the fuck?
Did any of you out in the chat see the Jon Stewart video of his interview with the Arkansas assistant district attorney?
No.
Excuse me, I'm sorry, Attorney General of the state. He absolutely ripped her a new asshole or two, maybe three. He had facts to back up every point of their bullshit laws, and she just could not keep up. He absolutely dusted her off and made everybody understand quite clearly how stupid the law is and how absolutely actually no, he didn't make the point, but he made the point that you've chosen these experts and you've decided to listen to them instead of American Medical Association, blah, 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 and all the top people that recommend trans treatment is okay. And then somebody else came out, Aaron Reed, a very active trans woman on Twitter, and outlined the reputations and biographies of the people that they used as experts. Like for example, one guy's got offices in a shopping center next to a Pizza Hut and has never treated any trans people for anything. That kind of level of qualifications that they're using. And it really was a marvelous interview. And if you want to know how to argue against these bullshit anti-trans laws, go get that video off YouTube and watch it, memorize it, and you're going to be way ahead of the curve on facts, information, and how to argue them.
I think I may have seen part of that. I'm gonna have to see if I can find the whole thing.
The problem with most
a link,
of these
maybe
issues,
post it.
the problem with most of these issues is that the people who are going to vote in favor of all these, discriminatory bills, get all of their news from Fox, and aren't going to listen to any other source anyway. I think that's the problem with our politics now, that facts don't matter, and you're not really going to change anybody's opinion, because the intelligent people are going to actually follow the intelligence reporting.
Yes,
At least a third of the people are going to follow Fox News as their only source.
Yes, Stephanie, I forgot about John Oliver. He did a spectacular little treatise on Last Week Tonight.
Yep.
Which is also available on YouTube. Watch that one too.
I saw the John Oliver one.
I love me some John Oliver.
I'm sorry, missed that, Jeff?
I was just saying I love me some John Oliver.
Well, if we can get some links to these interviews, maybe post them up.
Strangely, John Oliver, though, I mean, I don't know if you know, any of you guys know this, he was never like a household name in the UK as a comedian or anything. He's practically unknown over here until he got big in the States.
Yeah, well, he really got his start, doing the Daily Show. That was really the first time he got known on a national level.
But he wasn't. But he wasn't like he was someone who was a big sort of celebrity or famous comedian in Britain or anything. I mean, you probably actually say a lot of British people still don't know who he is. Yeah, he's a bit of a strange case. He got big in the United States, and he's still relatively unknown in Britain.
Who, John Oliver?
Yeah.
He's an American citizen now, did you know?
Yeah, I know. He's been an American citizen for a few years now.
Mm-hmm. So he's ours, not yours.
Yeah, you can have him.
Well, we deserve it.
You can have Graham Linehan.
He's Irish. We're not having Glinner. I mean, yeah. We've already got JK. I don't think we don't want to claim Glinner as one of ours.
When is that bitch going to shut her mouth?
Probably never.
She's getting worse and worse and worse.
Well, I got a link to the John Oliver one, so I dropped that in the side chat.
Cool.
I mean, she's never going to shut. She has decided, Jenny, that she has basically decided this is the hill she's going to die on.
Yeah, so, she's right. She's gonna.
Well, I looked over her reasons, and 3 of them were just willful ignorance, and the third one and the fourth one was definitely straight up transphobia.
One of them, I mean, one I remember a couple of years ago, wasn't it? And it was just a really bad appeal to emotion. It made no sense whatsoever.
I may have signed my death notice in the trans community.
Oh.
Yeah, I wrote a response to a tweet that was discussing trans women in locker rooms who have not had bottom surgery. And I discussed my experience with that 40 some years ago. Well, before and after having bottom surgery. And I supported the concept of, if you're going to have people who have not had bottom surgery in the locker room, they, as individuals, should accept responsibility enough to consider the feelings of the other people around there. And that if you're going to be there, then you should do your best to not show yourself off. You know, I'm not saying go hide somewhere, but don't advertise yourself.
I'm still in favor of them switching in these locker rooms over to individual stalls.
Yeah, I think it would be much better if they had individual changing stalls. That would pretty much make the whole problem a moot point.
Mm.
The Turfs would still find a way to bitch about it.
Oh, sure.
Of course. Remember, these are the same group of people who historically didn't want blacks and whites changing in the same room.
Yeah.
How dare you suggest that?
Yeah, it's like when my grandfather first came down here, they still had segregated laundromats. The white side was all filled up, so he took him and I think it was 5 kids at the time over to the black side, starts washing his clothes. Looks back around on the other side to the white side. And was, the wash is just as good over here.
Yep, same water. Now, speaking of water, another horrible travesty of our broken justice system. But the Michigan Attorney General has dismissed the cases of all of the city officials from Flint, Michigan that let the water crisis go on for years.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
there's not a justice for one is not justice for all.
Yeah, I don't know the numbers of how many people died because of it, but yeah, there were clearly manslaughter charges would have been appropriate.
That's despicable. I mean, look, the Flint thing that even made the news over here. That's such a big story. Despicable.
Here's Rawlings' list of reasons why she's taking the position she is. So your first one, she's worried about the erosion of the legal definition of sex and having it replaced with gender.
And so fucking what?
Not really happening. This is one, I think is the transphobic one, and she's children's charity and is worried about both the education and safeguarding kids. I don't see how I can interpret any other way than being transphobic. Something about her third reason has something about being canceled, which she wasn't.
Yeah, they're worried about safeguarding kids from a group of people who there is absolutely no evidence that they have ever been a threat to anyone.
Oh, let's see. That's not true. There was an article just the other day in Huffington Post about a Arizona Republican candidate who was just busted for child pornography while he was hanging out at a preschool. He also happens to be one of the advocates of transgender hate things.
Oh, and her fourth reason is she's worried about people who transition and then later realize, oh, they're not trans after all, and regret it.
Why can't those people get it through their head that is what the process of transition is about? For a person to have the opportunity to determine if that is indeed the right thing for them to do. Well, that's why people don't go in and knock on the door and say, give me surgery and have it the next afternoon.
Yeah, that's what they think is going on now.
Here's the thing, right? Is she planning on transitioning herself and then thinking she might regret it later?
No, I think she's, according to looking at this, she seems to be just worried about other people.
Well, and in every
Well,
case
then
I've heard,
let other people fucking worry about it then.
Mm.
in every case I've heard of that somebody started to transition and then changed their mind, it was because of the social pressures from their family or their community or their job.
It's a pretty rare
Mm.
thing too. It's only like, I think one study I found was basically like only maybe 6% end up regretting it in some way. And yeah, and most of the time it's because of pressure from family and
Yeah.
such.
The only statistic I've seen on it said it was less than 4%.
Yeah, so I've saw other ones that were much less, and I think one was even like a little over 1%. So it's
And the success rate of completed transgender treatment is up around 98-99%. The highest satisfaction rating for medical procedures of everything on the planet.
It's yeah. So yeah, I'm sorry, but J.K. Rowling just needs to wind her fucking neck in.
Hi, Richard.
Yeah. Hey, Richard. Yeah, it's really such a shame that, she created something the whole world loved and then used her fame to just spread hate.
I enjoy her books. In fact, I finished up the series while I had the power out. And I have to say, that last one, there were a few things I've done differently in the story, but still a good book.
I wasn't even a fan of those books, but then I don't know, just wasn't my thing.
Well, I started reading the Harry Potter books with one of my daughters. And I think it was for the 5th book that I had to take her to the premiere party. So we were standing outside the bookstore in Mall of America at midnight waiting for it to open. So that was a kind of special moment that I remember. And then also that my late fiance loved them, that they were books that I often read her to sleep with. So, it's like there are some very important memories that those are attached to for me. So it's really difficult for me now that the author has, just turned out to be such a scumbag.
At least on this issue.
Yeah, well, okay. Aside from this, what has she been doing with her money? Has she been contributing to any worthy causes?
From my understanding, she does contribute to a number of causes.
Yeah,
I'm not sure which ones though.
Yeah, I know she was bragging about her royalty checks the other day. So.
No, Steph, if you want to jump in here, we'll be going for about an hour yet. Richard, if you wanted to come in too, there's room here.
Let's see here. Some of the lists I just kind of the charities she's donated to: Book Aid International, Katie E. Hodge Foundation, Children with AIDS, Dyslexia Action. I don't know if any of these are good or not. Gingerbread, Heaven Foundation, Heifer International.
Yeah, none of them really say what they're about.
I'm just amazed the LGBT Alliance isn't on that list. Actually,
well, this is just a short list. I imagine there's probably. I'm just.
I don't know if they're classed as a charity. And no, I did see that. I forget which country it is that actually has declared them a hate group. I didn't see which country it was, but I saw someone that declared the LGBT Alliance a hate group recently.
Here's some more. Lumos, Make a Child,
Yeah.
Smile, Appeal, Multiple Sclerosis Society, PEN. Can't really pronounce that one. Raisa Gorbachev Foundation.
Stephanie makes a good point here. Detransitioners get more love from trans people than gender critics who just use them to discredit us. That, yeah, even the people who do detransition, who do decide that, it's not right for them, they still get support from the LGBTQ community.
Yeah, I don't know anything about any of these on this list of ones that she's donated to, so can't tell you how good they or bad they are.
Yeah, none of them have a name that even tells you what they do, so I'd have to go down the list and research those.
But I mean, the MF one's probably pretty self-explanatory, but without looking into charities,
Yeah, I wonder with any of these people that are like petitioning against trans people, it just what set them off? What convinced them that this was a horrible thing for someone to do?
Well, it started out as your basic terror politics from the right wing, that they needed election issues and hot button issues, and this is what they chose, because we're kind of like one of the last minorities to not have any rights. There's many other minorities that are also treated very badly, just like we are, but they at least have laws that say that they have certain rights, and we don't.
Well, they were losing ground with the homosexuals, so they had to find someone else to hate.
Exactly.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much.
I guarantee you, if we get a Republican majority in the House and Senate, they are going to start making it absolute hell for gay people.
Yeah, Jenny's right. I think that some politicians went through and found that, hey, there's no law against hating these people. Let's promote that.
Yeah, with the arguments I've been having on Twitter back and forth, I'm noticing a lot of similarities between the arguments against trans people and the arguments for creationism.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of it is still just reskinned the same arguments that they had, against racial minorities. Hey, Steph.
Oh, hi. How is everyone?
What are you doing on here?
I'll go.
I'm running on coffee.
Brilliant.
That's all I'm doing.
Oh, my coffee's cold because I'm outside.
I can drink cold
Interesting
coffee.
discussion you guys been having. I've been checking in off and on.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think Necco wafers are horrible. Can't stand them.
So we'll just rename them Necro Wafers.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that'd be appropriate.
The
company should pick up on the Necro Wafers just for Halloween and start printing mummies and zombies on them.
Yeah.
That actually would be an excellent advertising campaign.
Would Necro Wafers be the ones that you get at church?
Yeah.
I wanted to jump in on the whole treatment of trans people in the media generally. I made a comment in the side chat that, from my perspective, and I've learned quite a bit about it unfortunately too recently, whenever whenever even the most well-meaning people like Oliver, like Stewart, from the network's perspective, from the suit's perspective, the reason to platform any discussion of trans issues is always about eyeballs on screens and asses in seats. And that just seems to me to be the thing. I think Disclosure, the Jen Richards, I think it was Jen Richards' film. I can't remember who actually made the film. She was on it.
Laverne Cox.
Laverne Cox made the film, which is great. It's terrific. I think it really highlights the double bind we're in. That it like every discussion about us comes with an asterisk, and it's very, very difficult for people to. This is why it's so difficult to talk about the trans debate. I refuse to debate my existence. That's not allowable. And I have yet to see anybody approach these issues with enough honesty, which is why films like Disclosure are incredibly important, because it's us talking about us.
Well, there's still a lot of attitude in the land of the ignorant, which is most of America, that people choose to be trans, that it's a hobby, that it's a fetish, that it's something that they decide, oh, let's go do that, and I'm going to become one of those. And it's just not like that. They don't get it, that it's a natural human condition.
Yeah.
And then the people who become visible because they transition are doing that just so they don't kill themselves.
The people that get it are the people that know us personally. I've been in sports my adult life. I'm a sailor. I do it professionally and have done for a long time. I have never, ever, ever once, well, only once, and it was very, very early in transition, had someone just run away in horror about my participating on any crew or any regatta or anywhere. I have heard people that don't know me. I mean, one really weird example was I had run a level 3 world match race competition in Marblehead, and only one person in this group knew my past history. There was a chief umpire and 2 judges. We were having dinner after the event, and this one guy just started going on about politics, and it was clear he was a Trumper. And then he started a Trump-NZ, and then he started going off. This was like in 2019. Then he started going off on trans people in sport, and that's when this issue sort of sprang to life. 2018, 2019, it all of a sudden sprung to life that trans people are going to ruin women's sport. This guy starts going off about this, and we were waiting for the check when the conversation began. So fortunately, it wasn't a very long one. I let him go on and on and on, and I finally turned to the guy and I said, "Have you ever met a trans person?" And he said, "No." And I said, "Well, you have now."
That's a good story.
Just the people that don't know us, the people that haven't watched us struggle. I mean, that when I started transition, a number of people, my business partner said, we can't do this because it's going to wreck the business. There was a tremendous period of struggle. But eventually those people came back after they realized I wouldn't be doing this to win a pickle dish. I wouldn't be doing this to, pull the wool over people's eyes. I mean, I'd been doing that, pulling the wool over people's eyes for a long time. And what I was doing was saving my own fucking life. And people do get that individually.
Well, yeah, and the whole argument about trans women in bathrooms is that they're saying about them like men are going to dress up as women to sneak in there and sexually abuse women. And it's like, you really think that somebody is going to go through all these drug treatments and everything just for that? I mean, if somebody wants to abuse somebody, they're going to find a much easier way of doing it.
The number
There's
one
nothing-
most critical piece of information about that concept, Perp, is that if you go to Pink News UK and look up and do a search for the terms of, you know, bathroom scare, trans people, blah blah blah, you will come across the article of that the people who invented that concept say that we made this up just to scare the fuck out of people, that it's not true, we did this on purpose.
Yep. On the other
Well,
hand,
you know,
I can actually dig up three articles of U.S. senators who have abused people in bathrooms.
exactly. Nothing's going to stop some dude who wants to be a nasty asshole from barging into the ladies and doing something horrible. I mean, nothing's going to stop that. It's trans people for, you know, I remember early in transition, I was scared shitless of using the right room. I mean, this is like over 20 years, 20, Jesus Christ, 24 years ago. But for the most part, nobody gave a fuck. You know, maybe twice back in those days, somebody would say, "What are you doing here?" or gave me the side eye, and that's because we're awkward. It's like we're unlearning years of habituation in presenting one way, and we're trying to work out. You know, it's a real dance. We're trying to figure out a whole new set of dance steps. And how we relate to other people.
This is a very
People
good
don't
analogy.
understand that part.
It's also that part of the huge divide between cross-dressers and trans people, that trans people generally want to blend in and not draw attention to themselves.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the whole woman face thing. It's like, no, this is not a performance. In some respects it is, because I think gender is a performance a lot of the time, but not for a trans person's. It's a trans person has this innate sense, and once people get it, they understand. Well, I don't know how you could do this. I have never even questioned my gender. Well, neither have I. It's
Stephanie,
just that,
I would like to up that comment once more step. It's my feeling that everybody on the planet is performing their public self, because everybody is different in public as they are in private.
Yeah, I can agree. I can see how that would be. And we all mask to some degree. Yeah.
yeah, and it's a question of I think for it's, you know, it's not there's no roadmap to this. It's just a chart. You know, you chart your own damn course, and people approach their transness in completely different ways, and it's an individual thing. That's why it's hysterical to me that people talk about trans ideology. There isn't one.
Oh, for fuck's sake, yeah.
There isn't a trans ideology. There's an anti-trans ideology that is that's full of perfidy and is disingenuous from the get-go. Because even the most right-wing asshole, if they know you, will treat you with respect for the most part. I have lots of Republican friends who will oh, we have your back. We have your back. I get that over and over again. It's like, and I try to point out, okay, you have my back. My back is against the fucking wall right now, and I need to have you have the firing squad. You're a Republican. You tell me you're friends. Well, you've got to tell your fellow Republicans to not keep pointing hatred, vitriol, and firearms at my head. Sorry, I'm a little wound up. Maybe it's the
Oh,
coffee.
no. Very well said.
Go ahead. Wind up, baby.
Yep. You know, there's every reason. As you say, this is literally something that is putting our lives at risk. You know, that's not being hyperbolic at all.
Yeah. I can't remember where I first used that. Oh, we have your back. I just got so sick and tired of having it. This is probably back in 2018. And I kept I kept a lid on commentary about trans issues, you know, for years. And I started saying, okay, I'm going to rip off the anonymity at this point and speak for myself and speak strongly about it in 2018 when Trump's Department of Health and Human Services first proposed that sex is immutable. Literally, this is the text of what HHS drafted. Sex is immutable, defined at birth, which was a gateway to taking all of our rights away at that point from the federal government's point of view, all of them. And that's when I started screaming about this stuff. And I started screaming to my Republican friends, some of who were sitting in very influential positions. And that regulation never made it. Never made it through.
They want to put us in prison so that we're out of society. They want us to disappear. They want to eradicate us.
They want us to be invisible. They want to go back to the time when, I think now they're becoming more and more homicidal, to be honest. But originally, what they wanted was for us to go back to the standards of the DSM-3, which is to say, you can't transition unless you performatively can demonstrate to a vast number of gatekeepers that you're entitled, that you're one of the good ones, you know, that you will in fact pass, you'll adopt all of these, you know, all of the strategies. In other words, you can't be the full human being you are, right? You know, that's what gatekeeping was when I transitioned. And you know, it's the 2-year real life test thing before you can get a script. And I know it's still the same way in certain quarters nowadays, but it's not in the DSM any longer. And, you know, and that's progress. And there's a significant number of people that want to go back to the 50s when I grew up. Well, in the 50s, there were you know, lunch counters were segregated.
Yeah.
Schools were segregated. There was American apartheid, and it took an awful lot of effort to change that, and they just want to go back there.
They don't even want to go back to the 50s because nobody remembers history. They want to go back to living in the series Happy Days.
Yeah, exactly. They want to go back to a mythical creation that never existed.
That's pretty much what all nostalgia is that they want to go back to what they think some time period was like, but they never know the history of the time period they're talking about.
They want to go back to 1850.
Yeah.
They don't want women to have the right to vote. They want women to be property of a man.
Yeah.
They do not want to have homosexuals exist or transsexuals exist. They do not want to have to do special education or treatment to people who are disabled mentally or physically.
Yep.
They don't want to have anything to do with anyone who is anything less than perfectly healthy white cis male for the most part.
Living in a patriarchal society where white het cis males rule the roost.
Yep.
Yeah, because they all believe none of them will ever become, you know, injured or disabled.
Indeed.
You know, like that can't happen to a cis white man.
Except it does all the time. You know, I mean, but you didn't have to be a member of a minority to get screwed over by fascists.
That's for sure.
Yep. Well, you know, that's why they fight so hard for the biblical marriage idea. Because that's what they want. That's going back to the woman being property. And it's something that has baffled me is that why any woman supports the idea of a biblical marriage.
Because they don't really know. They haven't taken the time to actually understand what that fucking means.
Yeah.
Well, like that
Basically,
fucking. What's her name?
A marriage in the Bible is a livestock transition. Or a livestock transaction. Sorry, I'm having trouble with words today. You know, that basically it's just that the church was making a record that the woman no longer belonged to her husband, or no longer belonged to her father, that she was now property of her husband. That's all the marriage was about in the Bible.
Yeah. It wasn't one man, one woman at all. It was one guy and how many wives and concubines he could afford.
Yep. Yeah, because no matter how many women he had sons by, the sons were always important. The daughters didn't matter.
Yeah, well, you always get some money off of the daughters, so selling them off.
Yeah, pretty much the same as raising goats.
I wonder how many of the people out in chat, particularly women, have taken the time to read some of these lunatic men's attitudes about women and what they should be. In terms of, I read one yesterday or today, I don't know what it was, saying things like, I can't quote it exactly because it made me too mad. I didn't memorize it, but it was saying things along lines of, oh, you have to weigh this much and you have to be thin. And basically the dimension that he was talking about would have made the woman have to be about 3 foot 5 inches so that she weighs 80 pounds.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
You know?
What age are we going by here?
And men who think that
Who the hell?
that the vagina stretches out, and if it stretches out, it proves you're a whore. And just these incredibly ignorant things that they say they really believe are true.
Yeah.
Well, I see YouTube what's his name? That YouTube finally kicked that incel dickhead off, didn't they? Well, he's not an incel, but the one all the incels worship, that guy who had like millions of followers, they finally kicked him off, didn't they?
Matt Walsh?
No, Tate.
Oh, yeah, that asshole.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
Is it Andrew Tate? Is that
Andrew
is
Tate,
that-
yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking asshole. Sorry. Pardon.
Yeah, if you've not seen him, Jenny, then you won't have a frame of reference. But on the plus side, you haven't seen Andrew Tate.
That's
No,
true.
I haven't even heard the name, but thanks.
Great big huge incel guy. Basically, was all about moping about on account of he wasn't getting any.
Yeah, I think it's Cirrus has done a couple of responses to him.
You know what makes me most crazy about the incel boys and how livid and how they want to kill women because they can't get sex? I have not had a date for longer than most of them have been on the planet. You know, and so I'm just going, what the fuck are you bitching about, boy? What's
Kind of
what's your
reminds me-
problem?
Yeah, Sloth Girl, I'm not entirely sure if I should take that as a joke or if I should worry more. I'm sure she meant it as a joke, but it's like, yeah, you gotta kind of
That's a
pause
joke.
on that one.
Yeah, that one's a joke.
I don't think
Yeah.
it's bad to take a knife. I'm a proponent of never leave the house without a knife.
Well, I always have a small thing with me, but it's not much more than a box cutter.
But
Yeah,
I'm
still
I'm
useful.
just I'm not so amazed that Andrew Tate got kicked off of YouTube. I'm just amazed it took him so fucking long. He should have been kicked off like several years ago. So
Yeah.
It's
Any
like-
of these guys on YouTube that are, talking about how to be an alpha male, and it's like, that shit's just nauseating at best.
I mean, Libs of TikTok has had 9 lives on Twitter. It's ridiculous. It's like, where do you have to go? How much more?
I think we have to. I think we have to talk about these kind of behaviors and these kind of thought lines and philosophies for what they really are. They're not bad. They're not sexist. They're not anything. They are childish. They're a little 3-year-old that thinks that they can have everything their way all the time. Okay, that's
Yeah.
exactly what they are, and we shouldn't give them any more respect than telling them that they are children.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's like Tucker Carlson's on television every night. Matt Shapiro gets complaining about WAP. I mean, for God's sake, buddy, grow up.
You mean Ben Shapiro?
Yeah.
Like I said, I think. Yeah, but I mean, I swear, like, I swear, our politicians are like taking look at American, like lunatic American Republicans, and taking notes now. I mean, the one who's just resigned today. Yesterday, she was talking, and what was I'm going to try to remember the quote she Suella Braverman said yesterday. Something like Guardian reading, tofu eating, wokerati.
Yeah, no, they've been doing that for some time, Jeff. That really, I saw that with the with the Brexit election, that there were a lot of Republican tactics there.
There was on both sides of that argument, and sadly,
the money behind the out transphobia crap really got going over your way. But it was funded by the same people that are taking it to the next level legislatively, anyway. Here in the United States, I mean, it was almost a trial run for the Heritage Foundation to dump a shit ton of money into British transphobia, and the likes of the Murdoch clan using their media platform to completely overwhelm any sort of good faith within the British media. It was all right-wing, American
Stephanie,
right-wing
you are
money.
absolutely 100% correct. It's been shown in studies of where the money's coming from, where the money's going. You are absolutely 100% correct.
So it was a trial run, and now they're putting it, they're up in the game here and taking it to school boards and state legislatures and everywhere with more direct funding because it's onshore now.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. There's a reason we've got a nickname Turf Island now.
This is another scary thing going on now that most people aren't aware of because most people don't pay attention to school board elections. But a school board election, which generally a campaign doesn't cost more than maybe a few $1,000s to run, the Republicans have been pumping millions of dollars into school board candidates across the country. So they're trying to take over at that level. They're trying to take over with school boards and with city offices.
The latest absurdity is the whole bullshit stuff of parents storming school board meetings, being concerned that children are coming to school and being allowed to piss in litter boxes because they consider
jeez,
themselves
that-
cats and dogs.
Yeah.
It's complete nonsense. It's made
Right.
up out of it's libs of TikTok bullshit. It's complete effing nonsense. But it has the effect of getting people scared, and that's what motivates right-wing fascists. Fear.
Yep.
And they couldn't. They are trying. They're even more and more. We're even getting to the point where anti-Semitism is something that comes out of the former guy's mouth, and people are saying, "Well, that's okay." They used to be afraid of that shit, but they're not anymore. The mask is coming off.
Oh yeah, they're
and the way into it, I hate to say it, but just like in Weimar Germany, the way into it was through a very tiny minority. Let's just push the trannies, because that scares people, because icky. And we can't do anything about the queers because they've got marriage equality, and everybody thinks it's a great idea at this point in time. So we can't alienate those people, but we can scare the fuck out of, quote unquote normal people by focusing on something that is very hard for people to understand. And I do understand why it's hard for people to understand.
The one thing that may work the other way, though, is I don't know why the Supreme Court did it when they did, but the Roe versus Wade thing over the summer has scared enough people on the left that we're likely to get a lot more people voting than normally would.
I hope so.
Well, I'd hope so. I'd hope that's a wake up call.
Well, and Biden made an announcement the other night that if the Democrats have enough control in Congress after the midterm election, that his top priority will be to push a bill to codify Roe versus Wade into law.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, yeah, it is like, okay, and this wasn't done any time in the last 40 years. Why?
Because both sides used it as a hot button issue for politics. But now the party's over, and they have no choice but to do it, or shut the fuck up.
Yeah, well, it's an
Tannehill.
easy issue for Biden to use, because after seeing the no exceptions rules the Republicans are pushing, polls are now showing like 80% of the Americans support some type of abortion rights.
Well, it almost always has been a majority opinion that, Roe was fine.
Well, yeah, it had been like 2/3 before, but now it's up to like 80%.
Yeah. Because people realize this. I mean, it's tough being old. I mean, I remember I grew up in Massachusetts in the 50s and 60s. And I remember in high school, there was always this girl who had gone to New York, and everybody knows why she went to New York, because abortion was illegal in Massachusetts.
Interesting.
And, I remember those days. I remember them quite clearly.
I was just listening to a story of yesterday of a woman who was talking about how she had to get an abortion as a teenager, because of she was sleeping around. But the reason why she acted out that way was because she had been molested as a kid. So there was bad mental space going on with her, that resulted in her having sex at a very young age and being pregnant.
Yeah, and that's a very common cycle.
What's also starting to show up is far more common is how many little girls are pregnant because of daddy.
Yeah, well, and that's something that, again, and it's the southern states that push it the most, that were the most anti-abortion, and at the same time, these are the states that have the highest instance of cases of pregnancy because of incest.
Yeah, well, Roman Polanski is a dirtbag, but he did direct and write Chinatown, as the film, and that film's all about that. It's about power mad daddy who, yeah, I don't know if you've seen the film, but it's a
What
pretty
film?
powerful film. It's called
I've got it.
Chinatown.
I've got it somewhere on DVD.
One more time. What's the name of the film?
Chinatown.
The name of the film is Chinatown, and
Okay.
it starred
Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson and not Anne Margaret. I can't remember who was the co-star. It's a tremendous film. And Polanski shows up in it, but and he is a dirtbag. He you know, amazing how the film took up a subject that, well, wasn't raping his own daughter, but he was rather fond of young girls.
Yeah, not familiar with that one. I mean, I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie.
The lesson that I learned when I hear all this discussion, which is very good discussion, by the way, folks, is that it seems that all the horrible sexual things that people have had done to them, that have had to live through horrible things, have all been done by cishets. All of them. I haven't heard gay people doing it. I haven't heard trans people doing it. It's all cishet dudes.
It would be pretty hard for me to come up with an exception of that.
I feel
come
so
on,
attacked, Eddie. I know.
You're a British colonizer. You should get used to feeling attacked by now.
Yeah, I know.
God save the king.
I'm sure there are some.
Oh well,
you
can have the king. I don't want. We don't want. Well, I say we. I don't. See, when I say I'm a Republican, that means something very different in the United Kingdom to what it means in
Yeah.
Indeed, it does.
Very much so.
You know, it's really funny. People that don't know history, it's like the history of the English Civil War is rather interesting that people should remember, and the fact that the nation, at least my part of the nation, was populated by people who were in fact Republicans.
Yeah.
You know, they were you know, they weren't friends of the king from the get-go, on account of the fact that they rejected the you know, the Puritans particularly didn't much care for the ceremonies of the Anglican Church, led by
it was part
His
of the whole
Majesty the King.
system. It was really part of the whole system of royalty in Europe that you know, it was kind of a homicidal incest. That how many people rose to the throne by assassinating their uncle?
You can definitely look back throughout our history, and you'll see some like real life Game of Thrones shit. You know.
Yeah. Well, like I said, that's not particularly England. That's just all of Europe functioned that way for 1,000 years.
Well, that pretty much is true.
Yeah, I mean, we were one of the first countries to actually put any limits on the royal power whatsoever. You know, and I mean, especially a lot of really the English Civil War was a lot of that was about that. A lot of people actually declared war on a lot of the people who fought on the side of Parliament. They weren't necessarily you know, wanting to abolish the monarchy. They actually, you know, wanted more sort of what we got now, I suppose.
What was the name of that war?
Monarchy.
Or that period?
English. It's sometimes called the English Civil War. Its more proper name is the War of Three Kingdoms. was the parliamentarians versus the royalists, essentially. I mean, it's a lot more it's a lot more different.
It's very complicated. It's very, very
Mm.
complicated. The Lord Protector, Cromwell, is
Yeah.
basically the
okay.
English
recognize it now.
Republic and all of that stuff.
Once you
But it
mentioned
goes
Cromwell, I remember.
The first constraint on the powers of the monarchy was the Magna Carta, really.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
which was
Yeah.
centuries before. What was it?
Yeah.
11
12
something or other.
1254, something like that.
1215.
1215. Well, I had
yeah.
3 of the 4 numbers right.
The King John was forced into signing that about a year before he died. That's the king. That's the king that appears in a lot of the like Robin Hood films and stuff. The bad king, you know.
Yeah, there hasn't been a John since. Nobody's
No, it's only ever been one King John.
They hated John so much after that period they started calling it the Lou.
Mm.
Oh come on, that was funny.
Yeah, that was it. So yeah. But yeah, well, I'm out on strike again tomorrow, so that's been dragging on for a couple of months now.
Anyway, let's have some joy. Where's the joy?
Yeah, let's try to wrap up on a happier note. We don't have too much longer to go here.
Well, I mean, if it's a happier note, I mean, I could say Liz Truss isn't going to last very long, so I'm quite happy about that. So,
I have something joyous to report. My COVID is virtually gone now, but more importantly to that is I've had a number of little events that have happened in my life. Nothing that's significant, but for one reason or another, they triggered thought and feelings.
Good sailing season.
That makes me so damn glad that I transitioned.
Great.
And to thank all of you people who are supportive of me and others. That's it.
You
just have to worry about surviving the winter.
Yeah, but I used to be like my parents used to be into sailing quite a bit, but they get a bit old for it now, so they packed it in. Because we got a lot of the yachties in my part of the world, so. So I'm in a place called Southampton, so there in the Isle of Wight, very big with the sailors.
Well, like I say, my happy news is that my new computer is finally running. Now I just have to transfer all the files over and get all the programs I use installed on it.
I'm glad to have heard something from Diana.
Yep.
I think we're yeah.
Oh, hold on. Keep going. I'll be back in a moment.
Okay. Yeah, it's good to hear from her, I suppose, and you know.
Doesn't sound like she's doing too good, but hey, at least she's still
a sign. So at least it's a sign of life, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the little things.
Boy, I sure lose a lot of gloves. I just lost a pair of gloves while I'm sitting in the car with them.
Whoa.
Yeah, is that like bad or what? I can't fucking find them.
For next year, I'll pull a rabbit out of my ass, so.
It's like looking for your sunglasses when you don't realize they're on your head. Wait a minute. For my sunglasses. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I lost my sunglasses too this year.
I have to get another pair of these gloves.
Hmm.
My work gloves I wear for when I'm out gardening. I noticed there is a hole starting to wear into the thumb of the right glove. They're pretty good gloves too.
Well, I had these. They were these really nice gloves that even had a fingertip that would work on iPhone screens and stuff,
Neat.
and they've just disappeared. I don't get it. I always wore them, and then I put on a pair of lovely magenta gloves that Cloth Girl knitted for me, or mittens, I should say, that are really nice and toasty when you have an inner glove on them. Somebody building a boat?
Nope.
Yeah, just sanding the decks, I think.
I guess they held up pretty good. I mean, they lasted me 3 years of almost daily use, so
God damn it. I really hate it when I'm an airhead. I mean, I'm not even blonde.
what you do?
Lost my gloves.
I'm talking about your gloves.
I also lost my earbuds. I have no idea where they disappeared to in the last 24 hours.
Aren't you glad your head's attached?
No. No, if it fell off, maybe I could get a one that works.
Yeah, I want to return my head.
I just got something from apparently we got this covered, which is a crap pop culture thing that usually makes up stories. So I don't even know how true this is. It says trans activist Ms. Keffels will suggest that incels should sleep with trans women. My response to that is, what makes them think trans women want to sleep with incels?
That tweet has caused quite a stir on Twitter.
I like that.
And
What
I
kind
can understand why. It's completely, even if it's a fucking joke.
Why would it cause a stir? I don't understand.
Well, let me see if I can find what she actually typed. It's kind of bad.
There would be less incels if people were less transphobic. There's a lot of straight trans women out there eager to ride some dick, and you are all just sleeping on that.
Incels need to learn that there are lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of trans women out there who have fooled gynecologists.
Well, that's true. Not necessarily intentionally, but yeah, that's true.
Oh, when did you have your cervix removed?
Mhm.
Yes, I've been asked that.
Yeah, but that's, we can always tell. What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what made me laugh at that. Who was that person who got into it with Katie Montgomery like about a week or so ago? when they actually Turo says, is Katie just like a radical feminist, or was Katie actually trans? And it was just like, thought you guys could always tell.
Yeah. She's gotten that a lot, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely more than once.
Yeah.
She's so gorgeous, I hate her.
But
gorgeous and young and smart. Fuck her.
I like the I like the one she saw when she said Katie Montgomery is cis and Katie Montgomery is trans, just to fuck them up even more. It's
I tell you, it is really kind of it's fun in a perverse sort of way to go on a show like the Transatlantic Calling Show and take these calls from people who are just absolute bellends, Forget this. There's this one guy who called in.
But
what?
I don't listen to it. I don't watch that show. But there's nothing against Katie or Arden, but I don't support the line, and that's so.
Yeah.
I found my gloves.
Yay!
Well, that goes back to my point that I came in here roaring about, which is to say it may not be so from the host perspective, but from the production side of things for shows like that, you have to think that the decision to do that from the production side was eyeballs on screens and asses in seats. It just, and it's very, very hard. It's very hard to, if you are asked to go on a show like that or do go on a show like that, there's that line that you always have to be cognizant of. Cui bono. Are you doing this because your presence there is valuable, or that the just having those discussions is part of the showing up? It's like I said during the discussion, you can change hearts and minds just by being you. And you when you do stuff like, I have been on the show like 3 times now, 3-4 times, I can't remember, but engaging in that discussion with the people that call in, for the people that are listening, it seems like it can make a difference.
Okay.
But,
sorry to break in here, and
no
honestly,
you damn things.
Well, I missed like the last 10 minutes going on here because actually that was Diana calling me.
Oh, that's good.
So
how's she?
She doesn't sound real good, actually, but basically I was able to reassure her that Minnow's going to go to take care of Sylvia. So
good. I'll put her mind at ease. Good.
Yeah. So she had said that they had talked about letting her out of the hospital today, but apparently that's not happening. And probably better that they keep her a bit longer, because she just She sounded weak, and she sounded like she was having trouble staying focused. So, yeah, I am kind of worried, not just physically, but that her mental state may be a little absent.
Yeah, I've been worried about that.
So, yeah, if Minnow's there when they let her out, and Minnow can give us a better assessment in person than I could over the phone. But with that news, I do have to wrap it up here because I have an appointment at the clinic in an hour, and I tried to get up an hour early this morning, and I was so out of it, I wound up dozing off in my chair, so I have to really hurry to get myself dressed for going out among people.
I did that last night. I fell asleep on my couch.
Yeah, well, the biggest problem, is that I've got to, shave and make myself presentable, and that takes too much time. So, I'm just gonna have to do a real quick wrap up here. Does anyone have anything they want to plug before we go?
I want to plug your good health, so that's it.
No, not really.
Well, thank you.
I don't. I might do something over the next few days, but I just haven't been doing a lot on my channel and that recently. So
Okay. Well, again,
I've been needing to take a break. You sometimes need to.
Okay, again, my new computer is up and running. Oh, go ahead, Jenny.
Yay.
I just wanted to make the point that this is one of the best shows on YouTube because we get 4, 5, 6 people, 7 people in here, and everybody is able to talk, and most of the times not talk over each other.
What's that, Jenny?
Make such good salient political and social points, and everybody walks away as friends, and the audience walks away having gained some knowledge.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I do wish we could get StreamYard to add a raise hand function so that as the moderator, I would know who's waiting to talk next. That would make things easier about the not talking over each other. So I encourage people, every time you log out StreamYard, it asks you for a comment. So comment about a raised hand feature, and if they get 20,000 comments on it, maybe they'll decide to include it in a future update.
This would be nice.
Like I say, speaking as the moderator, it would make it much easier if I know who's wanting to talk next on a subject. Okay.
That's for sure. All right.
And why won't Katie bring me on her transatlantic show? God damn it. Or Arden.
I don't know. Actually, I've never had any personal interaction with Katie or Arden, just through Twitter.
Well, next time she asks, I'll pitch you.
Okay.
I think I've spoken to Art. Been in a stream with Arden once. Don't think I've ever spoken to Katie.
Well, okay. So my new computer's up and running.
Okay.
So I want to thank everybody who helped contribute to that, and I've got to go back and make a list of who contributed to make sure I thank everyone. That besides the people who donated parts and money, also had a Twitter DM group that I had 6 people offering technical advice and which components were going to be compatible with each other, which was just hugely invaluable. Again, I know that GeoSam, Crichton, and Nerdy Rodent were on that list, and they were helping me pick the components. So I will get a more proper thank you for that together after I get back from my trip and the pressure is off for the time. This may be the last that any of you are hearing from me for the rest of the week, because as I said, that tomorrow I'm going to have to take a nap in the afternoon and be driving all night to get there in the wee hours of Friday morning. And at that point, I will be offline probably until Wednesday. So yeah, it's probably going to be a full week before you even see me post anything on Twitter. So just to let people know, and so nobody's alarmed, yeah, you're not
Good to
going to
know.
see anything from me all weekend.
Good to know.
Fine.
So with that, I would like to thank everybody who helps me keep the channel running here. And in that, I need to include Jenny here and Mage, for being so dependable that I know I'll always have somebody to talk to here and not have to monologue. And Ox and Robert X for usually being here to moderate the side chat. Sloth Girl, we appreciate you, and Doc Fearson being there, injecting some humor even when we've got serious topics going. And of course, the people who are donating financially for me: Skits Crasher, Kitty, the Lavender Lady, Greg Hartwick, Dog, and Vonrek. I appreciate all of you, like I say, helping me keep things going every month. So with that, we will bid you all adieu, and I will see you all next week.
Ado.
Later.
Thank